So some of you reminded me that I still haven't done a review of the Hush Tarot yet. So here we are. We're going to do that today. The Hush Tarot by Jeremy Hush is a, I would say, loosely based Rider-Waite-Smith deck. So if you're new to tarot and you're working with the Rider-Waite-Smith system, you will be able to work with this. You may decide that you want to have a Tarot 101 book or beginning to tarot guidebook or book with you to help you understand some of the differences and the choices that he's made in representation, but I don't think you'll have too difficult of a time working with the deck if you're new to tarot and still learning the structure of the Rider-Waite-Smith system. So let's talk a little bit about the brass tacks of the deck itself. So it's published by US Games, and it comes in a small tuck box like this, smaller than a Blue Angel tuck box, still lovely, and nice size, nice to display if you're someone who likes to display. The price was, I don't know, I think I paid like $17 for it, but I think the technical price was probably in the 20s, but I did purchase this on Amazon. Really beautiful card representation on the front, and I'm going to read the backing for you so you can kind of see where he's coming from here. Hush Tarot beckons readers to explore an alluring world where animal and human spirits are unified, and even the smallest creatures like ravens and hares have great significance. At times they appear lost in the weeds, but there is always a hidden clue guiding them to the way out. The fascinating characters and landscapes are illustrated with lush detail inspired by a 19th century aesthetic that explores natural forms in various states of life and decay. Hush Tarot offers a shift in perspective that reveals profound answers to life's mysteries. 78 card deck, of course, and 68-page guidebook. So the interesting thing is that Jeremy Hush is a tattoo artist, and he works a lot in pen and ink and found items out in nature, and he brings that into the artwork. So you have this really beautiful sense of storytelling in his imagery, and it is very nature-based. It's very fae feeling to me. And so if you're someone who works a lot with the elements in your spiritual practice, if nature is a large part of how you experience your spiritual journey and something that you like to make a part of your path, then I think you will enjoy working with the imagery in this tarot deck. It definitely does have an antiquated feel to it, which is really, really beautiful in my opinion. But if you're not drawn to that type of imagery, then you may find that it's not the deck that you want to bring into your tarot practice. So this is what the guidebook looks like. Very small, but offers a little bit more for you than the little white book. And, he says that this was a really big deal for him to be able to make this deck, create this deck. It was like a huge milestone for him. And so I think it's nice to know that the artist feels such a sense of reverence for the tarot system as well. So interestingly enough, he gives you the card meanings and then kind of basics on how to work with the cards at the end of the guidebook. So that's a little bit different than normal, but just so you can see, you're kind of looking at card meanings, upright and reversal, and then a very small paragraph discussing his choices in the artwork and the card meaning itself for, what the card means when you pull it in a reading. This is a jumping off point. This isn't a definitive guidebook. Like if you are new to tarot, you are going to want something else to help back up the meanings, and your understanding of the card meanings. If you're a seasoned reader, this is a beautiful little book to read through, and it kind of helps open up, at least in some cases, a fresh perspective on traditional card meanings as well, which is really nice. So let's talk about the deck itself. The card size, here's Alice the Wonderland Oracle as a comparison. So it's bigger than like traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. It's a little bit wider, which actually I prefer. And the nice thing is that it really allows you to see the card image in full. And because he is using these kind of sepia tones, I like the fact that the card size is bigger. If this was like a Shadowscapes tarot size, I think I would have the same issue I do with that deck, which is that sometimes I lose the beautiful depth of imagery and symbolism in that deck because the card itself is so small. So they did a nice job with the card size, in my opinion. The backing is really different and kind of fun to have out on your altar or in your sacred space if you leave the deck out. It's just different. And I love that there are ravens and skulls, all things that appeal to my aesthetic and that work in my home as well. So it's kind of perfect for that. So that definitely gets a plus for me. I do actually like the backing a lot. The cards are super slippery. This is a really big irritation for me as someone who reads because they slide around a lot. That would be my one thing in the brass tacks aspect of this review. It's a super slippery deck. I don't love that. The cardstock is typical for US games. If you take care of this deck, it will last you for years. It's not like a Scarabeo where they start to warp immediately. Just need to take a sip of tea, guys. Okay, so I'm going to show you some of the cards while I talk about the imagery. This is a deck that is very precocious, very mischievous, and very cheeky. I wasn't expecting, and I think I said this in my unboxing, to love her as much as I do. And she was just kind of a one-off. Like, she popped up, it was on sale, so maybe I only paid 16 bucks for it. I can't remember, but anyhow, you can go back and look at the reveal if you want to know the exact price. But I wasn't expecting to love this deck as much as I did, and as much as I do love it now still. It's beautiful in that you really get that feel for nature spirits and nature beings. I do feel an experience with this deck similar to the Fairies Oracle in that it's how I experience the Fae and nature-based beings as well, as being precocious and mischievous, and they're not unnecessarily unconditionally loving, so sometimes their work isn't clear either, if that makes sense. So what they're doing in working with you. And I think you really get that feeling in this deck. Here's the Devil, right? This is an interesting depiction. So some of the ways that he has chosen to depict the imagery or the symbolism is a little bit different. And again, once you have started your journey with tarot and you've got those basics down and you're building your collection, decks like these are nice to bring into the practice because it allows you to have a shift in perspective, which allows you to be open to exploring something in a new way, which it causes expansion and evolution at a soul level, if we want to go that philosophical, but also it allows you to bring a depth and breadth to your readings that are not just basic. So this is one of my favorite images in the deck. Here we have the Six of Swords, so you can see you still have the basic Rider-Waite-Smith imagery, but he's shifted things a little bit. He's offering a different perspective for you. It's a really, really beautiful, earthy deck. Again, I feel that there's a lot of reverence in the deck, and it reads like a charm. It's a joy to read with, at least for me. I highly recommend this tarot deck. I love this image right here. I really, really enjoy it. I feel really blessed to have it as part of my collection. And here's the Emperor, guys. See how a little bit different. And it's one that, while she doesn't read for everyone, there are specific people that she really does want to be a part of the process. Specific clients, she will really be very loud about when she wants to be read with them, for them. And so she's definitely a clear talker. She is mischievous and precocious, so she isn't going to take you on the straight path to the answer in a reading. She's going to take you like the winding path through the woods, but there's going to be a lot of sweet that you pull out of that time together in understanding maybe even why you're asking the question you're asking in a tarot reading. So it's a different experience, and it's one that I'm just overjoyed to have in my collection, because those type of decks, the longer I've been reading and in now, you know, this is just what I've been doing now for a few years for my business and my work. It's so much fun to bring decks like that in, their breaths of fresh air to a typical read or a typical Rider-Waite-Smith knockoff. So I really feel like this is a worthy investment. If you are on the fence about this one, I think just purchasing it is going to give you a lot to enjoy. And if you want to kind of revamp your tarot practice or get inspired again when it comes to tarot, this is one that I think, you know, you purchase a journal and work with this and do daily draws with this, and you're going to be re-inspired in your tarot practice. It's definitely one that gives you lots of options. I'm going to show you a few more images from the deck, and then I'll just share my final thoughts with you as usual. And I just want to see, like, here's the Four of Pentacles. Isn't that beautiful? the Nine of Swords, like a slightly different depiction there, but it's very evocative of what we would think of with the Nine of Swords. These are nice cards to journey with and to meditate with for sure. I'll show you one more. There's the Two of Wands right there. And there was another image that I wanted to pull out. Ten of Cups, different imagery, right? You guys know that like the Three of Swords is big for me in like when it comes to being a marker for a deck. Like, what does the Three of Swords look like? I always pay attention to that. So I just want to show you. There's the Three of Swords here. Very, very different depiction than you would expect. And there's one more. Oh, the Death card. I love the Death card imagery in this. And I think I shared that in the reveal too. It's just so beautiful. So if you're also someone that works with spirit animals, if you have a shamanic practice, I think you will find that you get a lot out of this deck. Here's the Ace of Cups. There's the Sun. I just wanted to show you the juxtaposition of these two images, the Sun and the Moon together, how beautiful they are. There's a real opportunity for a lot of personal exploration there with those two images, and they're just beautiful. I love it when people bookend the Sun and the Moon, and I talk about this in the reveal as well. The Mary L. Tarot does that, and it's one of my favorite images. I just want to see if I've missed anything here. King of Pentacles is gorgeous. And the Five of Wands, like, hello, we love that image. Yeah, it's just a beautiful, beautiful deck. So that is a fair amount of the imagery from the deck itself. My final thoughts, if you're on the fence, I think that the Hush Tarot is absolutely worth the purchase and the investment of your money and your time. It is a deck that you're going to want to hang out with. It is very easy to read with, but I think she does want you to spend time with her and not just like, you know, whip her out every once in a while. Very, very earth-based in its feel. If you're someone who brings the elements into your spiritual practice or shamanic work into your practice, or who likes to work with the fae or elemental beings, you're really going to enjoy this deck. It's going to be one that you want to work with time and again. It also offers a slightly fresh perspective if you've been working with tarot for a while. If you are new to tarot, I would purchase an Intro to Tarot book or something like that to use along with this, so that you have an understanding of where his meanings diverge from traditional Rider-Waite-Smith symbolism and guidebook meanings. And I think that will help you be able to use this deck, but I don't think if you're a beginner that you can't use this deck at all. I just think you need to be aware of, you know, the traditional meanings as well in understanding how to read tarot. So I highly recommend the Hush Tarot by Jeremy Hush. It's absolutely beautiful, a joy to work with, and one I'm very thankful to have in my collection. Much love and many blessings, guys. See you in the next video. Bye.